Hi, I'm Graham from Second Era of Moles, and if you've clicked on this video accidentally, 90 seconds is all I ever ask. This is another week that was for Pokemon Masters X. Very busy this week. We've had the Champion Stadium, we've had the launch of the Legendary Gauntlet, we've had the Pasio Spectacles events, Fire and Steel Egg event, there's been the Pokemon Masters Day, Solgaleo has returned as the beast that devours the sun, so you'd be forgiven for being exhausted after all of that. But nevertheless, we plough on. Let's go for the Champion Stadium. We continue to be in the Johto region for the Champion Stadium, getting into round 1 where you have a special attack reduction. I chose to take on Karen with a team of Eevee, Pheromosa and Viola and Masquerain. So kind of the crux of this one is to get flinching onto Karen on her first move after her sync move. She gets guaranteed crit and stored power, and that can be devastating for whoever your first target is. The hints say to use special attack reductions. I'm not entirely sure about that because it seems to me it uses a mixture of both, maybe even more physical attacks. It's a good thing though that Eevee on this team can also reduce physical attacks, so you kind of got both bases covered there. You start off using there with Lusamine, you set Infestation with Viola, you're doing Tackle with Eevee. After that you're doing Struggle Bug to reduce that special attack. You're doing Lunge because you've got that special attack reduction, you're going for the physical move that Lusamine has. Eevee's still doing Trap all the way down to that first sync move, which is going to go to Eevee for 6x boost and also Universal Stats boost. After that, your pattern is kind of set. You're going with Lunge with Pheromosa for that physical damage. You're doing Struggle Bug with Viola to try and reduce that special attack. You're doing Tackle with Eevee to maybe get some flinching and to hurry up that sync move countdown. Your sync moves from here on out are going to Pheromosa. If you're running low on move gauge, Eevee has Let's Go to boost that, Viola has Trainer moves, X Speed, Just Fantastic to put on there. Recommend maybe doing a Just Fantastic around Karen's sync move to get that passive healing going. Eevee also has Potions to keep everyone topped up. When Karen's sync move comes along, it does a reasonable amount of damage, but the key thing is that stored power that comes right afterwards. I was lucky enough that I got that flinching onto her, and it meant that didn't come right away. I had Eevee as my first target, and Eevee has Vigilance though, which is supposed to protect against crit hits. So I'm not entirely sure how that one works. Didn't matter for me in this one, but it'd be interesting to see in the future how that one worked. But after that, it's just getting down to that second sync move with Pheromosa, which is going to wipe out Karen and all of her amigos, and that's your round 1 in the books. On to round 2 then, where you get a sync move stats boost. I chose to take on Will for this one with a team of Anniversary Lily, Phoebe and Dusknoir, and Holiday Rosa and Delibird. Poor old Will. He's not had a good time of it in this Champion Stadium, has he? Been absolutely pummeled by Lily time and time again. I almost feel sorry for the bloke. Almost. But similar to previous runs, you're doing Shining Moonlight with Lily and then just going to town with your Moongeist beam there. Phoebe's in there to raise crit hit rates and do Unbreakable Bonds. Delibird's in there to give you all the presents, which is going to speed up that move gauge, and it also gives you a random stats boost, which is good. Phoebe gets the first sync move for that 6x boost, and then the rest go to Lily. You probably won't need more than one with Lily. I mean, the damage that you're outputting is going to make short work of the middle and of the sides. I think I took out the sides first, and then went for Will in the middle. I'm not sure it makes much of a difference though, because again, it's just unleashing such power. In round 3, your condition is a physical attack boost. I chose to take on Koga with this one. He was weak to fire types, so my team was Blaine and Rapidash, Leon and Charizard, and Skylar and Swanna. You want to make sure that you have your status conditions on for this one, because Leon needs to inflict burn onto the opposition to really max out the damage that he can do. I didn't really use the condition for this one. I didn't have any physical strikers in there. They were all mostly doing special damage. You're starting off with Striker Pose with Leon to boost those stats. You get free move next and also a sync move countdown, so it's a ridiculously good move. After that you're doing Inferno, that's going to do damage and also inflict the burn condition onto him. With Blaine you're using Fire Spin to set trap and then going for Flame Wheel. With Skylar you're doing Take Flight to get all those stats boost, and then she gets that first sync move as well. As we always do, it is our homage that we play to our glorious Pilot Queen. When you get into that second round, you're using Inferno all the time with Leon, unless you get a Striker Pose refresh, and then you're using that as quickly as possible. With Skylar, you're using any Take Flights. She's going to have taken some damage at this point, so you may need to use a potion in this phase just to make sure that she stays topped up. With Blaine, you're still doing Flame Wheel. He's got a couple of trainer moves you can use. If not, the main thing is to make sure that you set Sunny Day before Leon's sync move comes along. And when Leon's sync move comes along, it's going to do big damage, boosted by the weather, boosted by the fact that the enemy is burned. Koga's sync move is thoroughly unimpressive, so it's kind of like he stood there and he goes, "Wahahaha," and then it hits, and he's like, "Wahahaha nah?" So that just means after that you're continuing to pound Inferno, make sure you set that sun again before your third sync move, make sure that Skylar keeps everyone topped up, and then unleash that big old sync move. One more attack after that should do it, and you're well on your way to the champion round. I noticed in this one that Koga's using Ariados. I thought that Janine's main Pokemon was Ariados, so it's like, did he steal it from her? Is Koga a thief? Did they release the Legendary Gauntlet as a something to distract us from these questions? Well, you can't get past me. You can't get past this mind. This mind notices that sort of thing, okay? We're coming for you, Koga. You thieving bugger. And I've just remembered that that wasn't round 4, that was actually round 3. So when we get onto round 4, there's a physical attack reduction. It made the most sense to go up against Bruno with this one. He was weak to psychic types, so my team was Lusamine with Necrozma, Bianca and Mushana, and then Dawn and Torterra. Dawn and Torterra are really the bane of Bruno's existence. You want to make sure you have your stats reductions on, because that's going to mean that Attack Siphon kicks in. Bianca is in there for Psychic Terrain, and Necrozma is your main striker. There's very low speed on this team. Torterra has that kind of by default, and Necrozma loses 1 speed when you use Luminous Love. So you want to make sure that you're maximising your turns each time. I was lucky and I got a refresh on Luminous Love, which is always very, very helpful, and it came in handy getting down to sync moves more quickly. So you start off using Direct Hit with Lusamine and then Luminous Love. With Bianca you're setting Psychic Terrain and then using You Snooze You Lose for stats boost. With Dawn and Torterra you're using X Defense. You might have to use a Razor Leaf if you don't get a refresh in there. Usually at this point I'd say sync with Dawn, but it's much more worth your while to sync with Lusamine to get Ultra Necrozma, because that gives you much more damage and it also gives you extended range. I think I aimed the sync move at one of the sides. Not entirely sure why I did that. I don't think you have to, because extended range is going to take care of those sides anyway. When you get into that second round, your first Prismatic Laser is going to be free because you've not used that free move up yet. It's going to do big damage to the middle and to both of the sides thanks to extended range. With Bianca you're setting Psychic Terrain again. You're using up any Snooze You Lose, and then you're moving on to Stored Power. Once you've used that free one, your Prismatic Lasers are going to be costing you 4 bars each time, so, you know, move gauge usage is a bit tight. With Dawn and Torterra, you're using X Defense refreshes. If there is the move gauge, go for a Razor Leaf. If not, it's not that important that she's attacking, and if someone's getting low on health, you could maybe use a Good As New. When Bruno's sync move comes, not very impressive. Didn't do much damage at all, and I was like, yeah, That attack siphon, Bruno, it's really doing you in. I had a Luminous Love refresh, as I mentioned earlier, so that brought the second sync move in very quickly. Again, aim it at Bruno to do lots and lots of damage, and this one should be relatively easy. Okay, now we're on to the champion round, where your permanent condition is a move gauge boost. I went for the optional condition of a physical attack boost. You're taking on Lance, as always. He was weak to electric types, so you probably got some idea of what's coming at this point. So my team was Signasuit Blue, Volkner and Luxray, and Elisa and Zebstrika. Lance has got his Gyarados again, so like the previous time he used it, he might try and start off with a big Hyper Beam. You want to make sure then that you have a Thunderfang queued up with Volkner there to maybe get some flinching and prevent that. With Elisa, you're using X Attack and then Spark. With Blue, you're using X Defense and then maybe to the top. When the flinching wore off, Gyarados was able to unleash a Hyper Beam at me. It did a chunk of damage, but it didn't one-shot me, which is what I was afraid of when I saw it queued up. So, you know, maybe it's that X Defense that prevented it, or maybe it just wasn't as powerful as I feared, but maybe it's just Blue is that tanky that you can't really one-shot him in the Champion Stadium. He gets that first sync move for the team Endurance, and then when you get into that second round, it's about using that trifecta, which is Electric Terrain with Volkner, Electrify for guaranteed crit, and then sync move with Elisa, and that is just gonna devastate Lance and his team of Dragon Buddies. So it doesn't really matter that much as long as you can set that up and unleash that. It doesn't really matter what the enemy is doing. And there's another 10k points run for the Johto region. I think that we've got one more week in Johto. I'm not entirely sure, so it could be that next week we're moving on to a new region. If I had to bet, I would say it's going to be Unova as the next region, but you never know, they might go for a new region this time. So the talk of the town at the moment, and the thing that's on everyone's lips, is the Legendary Gauntlet. Currently my win streak sits at 13. I've used 57 pairs to get there, so yeah, I'm not really qualified, I don't think, to be giving much advice on the Legendary Gauntlet. I haven't set up many teams that are going to be like, use these three to just wipe it out completely. I know there are people out there who have got win streaks that are like over 50 and up to 60, I think is the highest that I've seen. So I'm not going to be saying these are the teams that you should be using. I'm going to be giving more general hints at this point. So what I've found is that it works best when you can get on a roll of doing big damage and, you know, make it a quick battle after you get past that either first or second health bar. If you're going in for a long drawn out battle, chances are you're not going to be very successful. If you find that your team faints and there's only one move left before the enemy sink, what you can do is send in like a sacrificial Pokemon that you've hatched from an egg and not really done anything with, to take that sync move, and then you can come in with a better team and the enemy's got a full cycle of countdown to get through first. It seems to me that the people who are getting really big win streaks are using the fullest extent of their egg Pokemon. I haven't really invested in any of mine, so yeah, that's why I'm not up there. Tech Vulpix and Tech Ninetales seem to be the big favourites because they can set Sunny Day, which is useful for your fire types when you're going up against Cobalion. I would say my favourite moment so far is my team fainted and left Azelf with 20-25% health, and I was like, right, okay, I just need one team, so I was like, who can I use? I started Rourke in there, and I was like, right, if I can just get one big head smash from Rourke, just charge in and batter it down, even if it takes down Rourke as well, that's gonna be a good one. And you know what? Charged it up, head smash, took out Azelf, and I left Rourke with a little bit of health left. I was like, hey, you survived! Good for you, buddy. The latest event is the Pasio Spectacle. That is definitely a play on words because it's like, glasses buddies, unite! Even though I don't wear glasses anymore since my surgery, I still feel like I'm part of that team. I wore glasses for long enough that I should qualify. But the main thing to bear in mind is you get a better yield from the Part 3 challenge rather than the Part 4 challenge if you work it out on a per stamina basis. So go for those. There's no battle challenge for this one either. I think they're thinking everyone's just going to be in the Legendary Gauntlet from now on. Our penultimate legendary adventure has been added to the permanent story, so you've got Solgaleo returning as the beast that devours the sun. Very useful as a steel type striker, and it's also got a fighting type move which is special damage, so if you have someone who's weak to fighting types but also has very high defense, you can go in there with a focus blast from Solgaleo. There's no battle challenge for this one either, so you don't have to worry about that. The only thing is you only get a level 1 medal, and it's like, oh great, I get 10 1-star tickets. I have like 1,000 of them already. I'd kind of forgotten that they mentioned that the 25th of every month is going to be Masters Day. That means it's now more than a month since Christmas, which is kind of depressing when you think about it. Man, where's that time gone? But those events allow you to stack up on items and gear, so if you're like me and you haven't upgraded enough gear to get that medal, it comes in very handy for that. You can play co-op all day and stack up on your rewards. There was also a happy pull for 25 gems, and it gave me Signasuit Erica and Leafeon, so I'm quite happy with that. There was also a paid one, which I think was 100 gems, and that's 79p, so I didn't think that was too bad. And I got 2 5-stars out of that, so I wasn't unhappy with that one either. This week we got another message from the Masters team. The thing they led with was the jukebox, so you can now select the music that you're going to be battling to. There's going to be something called music coins, which I think are going to let you unlock new soundtracks. There's going to be daily battles where you can fight for more coins, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I'll admit most of the time I play with the sound off, so I don't think it's going to affect me too much there. There's going to be a Valentine's event again this year, similar to last year. The two featured are going to be Bee and Marnie, so if you want to, you can go and look up what their costumes are going to look like, or you can wait until the events comes along and you'll be able to see it there anyway. On the 10th of February, they're going to be adding the latest parts to the Sinnoh villain arc, so we're going to see what happens with Cyrus and Palkia there. There was mention of new grid tiles for Palkia and new ways to power it up, so that's going to be interesting because Palkia is pretty powerful already. And also next month we're going to be in the run up to the 2.5-year anniversary, so there'll obviously be celebrations for that. There'll be new pairs to celebrate that anniversary, so I don't know, you might want to start saving up your gems now and see what comes along with those. But that's in not just the week that will be, but a few weeks that will be down the line. This was the week that was, so hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you're getting big old streaks for the Legendary Gauntlet. If you've got a win streak that's much bigger than mine, I welcome you to share your teams and your tactics in the comments. You can follow me on Twitter, I'm SEOM_YT. You can subscribe to the channel for the week that will be next week. But thank you very much for watching this one, and goodbye.